We'll eventually get to the countdown. Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the award show. Things are looking a little bit different at the moment. Carl will be joining us in a little bit. So, first, want to show you. I know it's past Christmas now, but I had this prepared for the one before Christmas, but we never got around to it. So, yeah, what a guy! What a guy! So, we're here today to speak about the awards of the year. This year, I've watched more wrestling than I think I have in a long time, mainly because I know my stuff on here and because I'm actually starting to enjoy it now, seeing more live shows and stuff. So, first of all, I'm going to start off with a comment that came in before we went live. So, Christian and Gunther are amongst the best pro wrestling heels of 2023. Thank you for joining in. We will get to my picks pretty soon. And then my good friends over at Good and Gathering. Hello, Sam and Mr. Heyman. Yeah, he's there. So, first of all, I'm going to go because obviously, since Lee's here in the comments, they asked... I asked everyone that's in our little sort of admin group their sort of picks as well. So I'll go through those first, actually. So Lee left us 4 of the categories that we're going to look at today. Best male wrestler, he put LA Knight. That's actually one of my picks as well. I've got 2. Best female wrestler, Rhea Ripley. I think that's everyone's pick this year. Best pay-per-view, according to Lee, was Survivor Series. And the best tag team was Judgment Day. So I'm going to go into my picks. Let me get them up. I'll also round up sort of what's been going on. Obviously, AEW have had their tournament to determine the 2 finalists that is going to end up having 2 championships when they won. That's coming to a close. I think the 2 that are there or thereabouts are Swerve Strickland. Oh, no. So it's a 3-way match now. So Swerve Strickland, John Moxley, and I'm just going to look up the other one. Other than that, obviously, Judgment Day have been doing Judgment Day things. CM Punk's had a couple of promo segments and also has had his first match on a WWE tour show. That was the other day as well. Trying to think what else. That's the main things that have been going on. Obviously, on the 30th, we have the next AEW pay-per-view World's End, which cards up for really, really stacked. Right, so let's make sure I'm right with saying, so it's Gold League. So the final is actually set. It's John Moxley's first Strickland and Jay White. Jay White was the one I'm missing. And that's live tonight, actually. Obviously, late tonight. And then... Yeah, and then I don't know how they're will determine the gold lead winger. And then the gold lead winger will have both championships. One's the New Japan Strong Style Championship, and the other one, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Hey, Devon. I hope you're good. Thanks for tuning in. Right, so I'm going to go into my picks. So the categories that I've gone for are best male wrestler, best female wrestler, best tag team, best match, best feud / storyline, best pay-per-view, best weekly show match, and then best faction. Obviously, anyone in the comments, anyone watching, you're more than welcome to say your picks in the comments. I'll put them up. I'll speak about them. Because obviously it's easier if I have interaction with the comments while I'm on my own. But either or, I will talk through my picks. So best male wrestler. So I had two here. I couldn't pick. There's a couple that I've got two for purely different reasons. So best male wrestler, I think overall this year, in terms of wrestling storylines, just how much he wrestles, independent scenes and stuff like that, and slightly biased because he's my favourite. Will Ospreay. I think he did an amazing year coming off the back of AEW in London, and having that year to then carrying on this year, signing a big contract with AEW, still carrying on with all the independent stuff. Had an amazing match on a TNA pay-per-view in the UK. A couple of other like unreal matches. One of them is in my best match a bit later on. And then for completely different reasons, I think LA Knight has just kind of, he's just been like a breath of fresh air to WWE, basically. Somebody that's come in that the fans can get behind, somebody that's amazing on the mic, somebody that is not just amazing on the mic, is a really good wrestler as well. So yeah, they're my two picks. If you could let me know if you agree with that, if you think that's sort of rubbish, or please let me know. I'm always willing to kind of get any other opinions. So best female wrestler, I think this is the one that picks itself for kind of picks itself. I don't think anybody would say any different, really, because I think it's quite a standout that it's Rhea Ripley. She's just next level type stuff. It's not just the stuff she does for the Judgment Day. It's not just the stuff she kind of does outside of the ring. It's not LA Knight seems like an attitude era wrestler, yeah, for sure. Certainly can talk like that. If you also, Devon, if you're free, you're more than welcome to come on and give us your picks. Just let me know and I'll send you the link to hop in. Like I say, that's down to you. It's completely up to you. So yeah, that kind of picks itself. I think everybody would probably pick that as well, because just what an unbelievable year she's had. Not, like I say, just in solo, but in Judgment Day, bringing up the Judgment Day, elevating the careers of everyone in the Judgment Day. I think she's probably if you say that, I think she's probably the hottest in terms of talent female wrestler there is in the world, I reckon. And one from Lee with LA, real breakout star, fantastic skill set, brilliant on the mic. Yeah, he almost came out of like nowhere as well. Like it wasn't kind of somebody that, to me anyway, it almost like he came almost out of nowhere to then this like complete, obviously going for the title, facing Roman at Crown Jewel. It's really good to see, actually, because it was kind of, like I say, certainly to me anyway, and probably to everyone else, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air and somebody that the fans could really get behind. There hasn't been that. I say there hasn't been that, but there hasn't been that to that extent in quite a while, for sure. So, just going to look what Carl said. Yeah, so Carl should be with us, but he's also given us his picks just in case he doesn't make it. So I'm going to carry on. So best tag team. Again, I think this one picked itself. I don't think it's been a fantastic year for tag team wrestling, really. Certainly not in WWE. AEW have got a really strong kind of tag team division, but it kind of stays the same. So there isn't really sort of anyone that stands out. There's some really good tag teams in there, don't get me wrong, but there's not really anyone that kind of runs away with it. They've just got lots of solid tag teams. So yeah, Judgment Day, just as a faction, just as a tag team, I think it's probably the best thing. It's probably kept WWE in the money this year. If you take those out of all the storylines and stuff, I think the storyline of WWE this year has been pretty poor. So if you take away sort of Randy Orton, if you take away CM Punk, and if you take away Judgment Day, I think it would have been a really, really average year, because obviously WWE still got talent. I can't deny that, but I think they've just carried them through this whole year. So yeah, that was my pick for best tag team. So I've got best match. So there's two for this one again. So I've picked the Iron Survivor NXT match because I thought that was incredible. It's not something that I'm going to double check before I say this, but I'm not sure. I think that was one of NXT Iron Survivor history, because I know they did it last year. Okay, let's have a look. So, established in 2022. So we had 2022. So we had one last year and had one this year. I just thought it's a brilliant match. I thought it's a brilliant idea. It changes up kind of, because we don't get to see, I guess, that many new kind of stipulations anymore. Certainly in WWE, AEW kind of go off grid a little bit more and make new match types up and stuff. But WWE seem to just stick with the same one. So it's actually nice to have NXT make something new. I really enjoyed that match. I think that was my favourite match this year in terms of just sitting and enjoying it. And then the other match was, I think, probably my favourite match of the whole year. I'm going to make sure I get this date right. So it was the Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, the second one, obviously at Forbidden Door. They obviously fought before at Wrestle Kingdom 17. So this was kind of their rematch, let's say. To the match they had before, which again was absolutely unreal. In the words of a former Arsenal manager, I would just got to get that in there. Sorry, Carl, you won't be too keen on that, but Man United did win, so it'll be all right. So good evening. Thank you for joining us, Bosh. That's another great shout. That was one that did come into my mind because I'm a massive fan of the War Games matches, but the Iron Survivor match just really, really shocked me at how much I enjoyed it. And then the Omega Ospreay was just, we knew it was going to be absolutely amazing. No, that's all right, Devon. No worries at all. Appreciate you tuning in. We forget that, don't we? You forget that, like, it's evening here, but obviously with Devon, it's completely different. We forget sometimes that in America, it's halfway through the day now, or the morning, and we're just sat here in the evening, like. So yeah. So I'm going on to next the best feud / storyline. So obviously I've just put in my notes, I've put Judgment Day dominance, because that's all it's been all year, just complete and utter kind of domination. So yeah, I think I've said all is to say, like, each one of those before, so each one of the Judgment Day before the Judgment Day came around were kind of mid. Like Finn Balor had his like big push, and was kind of become like a mid wrestler. Damian Priest again had his push and was kind of becoming a mid wrestler. Dominic Mysterio's always been like, because of his legacy and stuff, and because he's such a good heel. But JD McDonough again, especially, is another one that was kind of going into like a mid card wrestler, and completely because of the Judgment Day, they're back up to the top. Yeah, it's about 2 p.m. here. Yeah, we're at 6:50. So yeah, there we are. And also, I hope everyone watching has had a nice Christmas as well, and has a nice chilled one. I certainly have. So, best pay-per-view next. Here's another one that I've got 2 in actually. So I had Crown Jewel. So again, both completely different reasons. So Crown Jewel was the first live pay-per-view reactions that we did on this channel. So that was quite special. And it was a really enjoyable pay-per-view from start to finish. It's not very often that I watch a WWE pay-per-view from start to finish, because most of like the mid matches are kind of just fillers. The only real ones that I watch right the way through are kind of the AEW pay-per-views, because each match they put into so much work. So that leads me on well to Crown Jewel. I think it was Crown Jewel because it was just such an enjoyable pay-per-view. I went into it with not much expectation, and each match did the business, apart from 1 or 2 that I remember weren't great. But still, yeah, so that'll be remembered as quite an iconic pay-per-view for me, because like I said, it was the first time that I hosted on this channel, and the first like kind of live reactions we did, because obviously Crown Jewel was on at a sensible time for us in the UK. The other one was Wrestle Dream AEW. Again, it was just an amazing pay-per-view from start to finish. Each match was like top tier. I don't think I've seen a pay-per-view like that in a long time. There's actually a story about it. It was actually one of the first pay-per-views that Kyle watched of like modern wrestling, because his knowledge is mainly based upon like Attitude Era, early 2000s, sort of, yeah, that sort of area of wrestling. And I have a little bit of knowledge around that, but it's more modern day for me. So I said to Carl, what's Wrestle Dream? Because I knew that each match was so stacked that it'd be impossible for him not to kind of sit down and enjoy it. And I think that's probably the reason why we're doing all of this now, is because he watched that and actually went, you know what? Away from the WWE, there's actually something that I can get invested in. So I know he's watched a lot of it since that. So yeah, they're my best pay-per-views. If anyone has any advancements on those, any different ones, I know we had Survivor Series by Lee. Is there any reason, Lee, that you particularly chose that pay-per-view, or was it just purely that you enjoyed it? Dom was fantastic last night versus Punk. That was the match I was alluding to. I think it's CM Punk's first match back since returning. Devon, I know all about the Attitude Era, and I'm trying to get into the new stuff. Yeah, for sure. I had to kind of, speak to Carl about all the new stuff. So if you ever need, anything to do with that, you know where I am. Just drop me a message or whatever. So yeah, I put 2 more in. So there was the best weekly show match, which actually came last week. Butch, so as known as now Butch, but as known in previous settings as Pete Dunne, versus Dragon Lee. It was actually on last SmackDown. So yeah, that was that. It was just because normally like matches in SmackDown and Raw, not really NXT. NXT to an extent, kind of are kind of mid slash filler matches slash squash matches, whatever you want to call them. So normally it's a lot of kind of just filler. But that was really good. It was actually Jordan that said you need to go and watch Butch vs. Dragon Lee, and I'm pleased that it was really enjoyable. So there's a couple more that I added. Best faction we spoke about, which is Judgment Day. I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with that. I am going to find out because me and Kyle added 2 more categories. So best faction and stable, so best heel and best babyface of the year. So I'm gonna have to do these completely off the top of my head. So because I just remembered this too. So heel of the year, I think it's got to be the whole of Judgment Day, hasn't it? I don't think anyone else can kind of disagree with that. Best faction / stable, we've already covered that. So I want to talk a little bit about my plans for this year and the channel's plans for this year. So channel's plans for the year. I'm going to, so ever since 1PW shut down, which was close to me, so I could go to live shows, I've been kind of trying to look at what kind of live wrestling fix I can get. So I have subscribed to Progress on Demand, and they have lots of shows during the year in London. So my plan is to go up there and see some of those. I would like to do some content around those shows if possible. Whether that be, I'm going to speak to sort of the people in charge and see if any wrestlers want to do any interviews or that sort of thing, or any fans interviews or any sort of stuff. If anyone watching is going to those shows or knows anyone that is, get them to reach out to me. I will put my social medias and stuff in the banner at the end. So that's the plan for me in terms of wrestling. Obviously, I'm not sure what's happening yet, but I'm looking at going to AEW in the end of the year. Progress have a show the day after, but that's to be confirmed. So that's in terms of what's going on this year. Obviously, there'll still be Kyle with his videos. There'll still be like these types of videos. Hopefully, we get to do some live reactions to especially the shows that they're doing in Europe this year. So France and Germany, they've got 2, and obviously they think there'll be another Crown Jewel. So we might get at least 3 this year that we'll be able to live react to again, like we did before. That would be cool. So yeah, other than that, I'm going to go through Carl's picks after I put these 2 comments. So Posh said, my New Year's resolution is to pay more attention to current wrestling so I can help out with this channel. It'd be good to have you. Like I said to you, Lee, you're always welcome on here. So this is to the Survivor Series. So all around great card, start to finish. Great story, the main event, then Punk returned. Yeah, fair enough. Makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to get Carl's picks. So Carl's given us the best male and best female. So best male, he's gone with Gunther. Again, it's one that I didn't really think of. But yeah, obviously we know how dominant he's been with that IC title, how he's the longest reigning IC title. And yeah, he's kind of one that kind of goes a little bit under the radar because he doesn't kind of do a lot of mic work. He doesn't do a lot of, he just kind of is the champion that fights. He doesn't kind of get himself dragged into storylines a lot. But yeah, certainly a great pick from Carl. So then female, he's got 2 picks. He's got Tony Storm and Rhea Ripley. Again, another one I didn't really think of, but I can see exactly why he's picked them. So yeah, that's kind of it, really. Unless anybody else has got any kind of picks, I think that's where I'm at with it, really. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. It was one of those ones that I thought was going to be kind of just an average kind of nothing match, but it turned out to be really good. And obviously they had a repeat of it on War, which meant that if Miz lost, he couldn't challenge Gunther anymore for his IC title for as long as Gunther was champion. He did go on to lose that, so he can't go for it. But I think Miz is another one that I would really like to see as of next year be given a bigger push, because I think they kind of underestimate the value of the Miz and how much that he has actually elevated the company over the last sort of 5-10 years. So yeah, I'll go with that before I leave. Actually, I'll go with some of the people that I'd like to be given more of a push next year. So I think certainly after the other day, I think Pete Dunne deserves a bigger push than what he's getting at the moment. I think that thing against Dragon Lee, the match against Dragon Lee was great. So he's certainly one that I would like to see be given a push next year. I'm going to just bring up the rosters and see if there's anyone that I can. And also another one thing I want to talk about is, it's really a sad day for me. Kind of a couple of weeks ago, as of Crown Jewel, actually. So I'll have to get the last one of 2023 as an American release DVD, which is not going to be cheap, which was War Games. WWE Home Video seems to exist, so there'll no longer be any wrestling DVDs, which is really sad. It's something I've done for years and years and years, is collect them. And I'll carry on collecting them, of course, but it's just sad that we won't get any new ones. But it's kind of been coming because they've just less and less made DVDs. That really now the only ones that they make are kind of the pay-per-views, and they sling like a couple of others, like they had a Best of the Money in the Bank, Cody Rhodes Best of, the Christmas Classics, Best of UK Classics. So yeah, they're not putting any effort into it anymore because of the network, I guess. But it's sad because the documentaries that I have on DVD are just incredible. Like right, all of ECW, all of the kind of character ones they did. They just had a knack at making these amazing documentaries. So it's kind of a shame that we won't get any more of those, but it hasn't happened for years. So it's kind of expected. I will actually do a video in the future if anybody else is interested to go through my collection, because it is quite big now. So obviously we know that Roman Reigns is going to be a big draw next year. We know CM Punk, we know Randy Orton, so we've got the usual names, and obviously all the champions are going to be big still. But I would like to see more Logan Paul, and not just it be pay-per-views, like more on a weekly shows and stuff, and building up some better storylines, because that's what Eakley's good at. So they need to use him for that as well. So I'm just looking to see if there's anyone else that I would like for them to push next year. Let's have a look. I think there's going to be quite a lot of NXT guys coming up next year. But I don't really like it when that happens, because they just have a thing of making them really big when they join and then kind of yeah, ruining them almost. So yeah, I think AEW is AEW. That's what I really like about them. Each person that's on their roster, they take time and they put time into them. They give them storyline flexibility and stuff. They've got a really good knack of making everyone kind of equal to an extent. So yeah, obviously next year I'll be spending a lot more time looking at the independent sort of wrestling, AEW, and then just catching WWE now and again, which is what I do now. So yeah, Lee's also put, looking forward to seeing Priest cash in. Yeah, that'll be good. I think, I don't know, don't quote me on this. I'm not sure. Has the female Money in the Bank cashed in yet? I'll have to look that up. I don't know off the top of my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a banner that has my Instagram handle on it. And then show banner. Yeah, so that's where you can find me on Instagram, which is where you'll find most of my stuff. I'm going to be, over the next couple of days and months, kind of building up our social media type stuff. There'll be a lot on Instagram and Facebook to kind of preview shows and stuff and kind of put any other content out there. So Posh, thanks for that, Posh. Yeah, cashed in at SummerSlam and still the champion. Thoughts on Hall of Fame nominees for next year? Ooh, good question. Good question. Hold that thought. I'm going to give that some thought. And Lee, you can come on, and Posh, you can come on, and then I'll have your thoughts, and we'll have a video before Mania and before they start getting announced on who we think, because I think there's lots that I could kind of look at and think, right, they should be in, they shouldn't be in, and I'm sure Carl will have a few picks as well. So we'll sort that, and we'll have a discussion around Hall of Fame nominees, who should have one, who deserves to have one, who's being overlooked. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could look into about that. So yeah. So put this back on screen. So obviously, thanks everyone for tuning in. I think it's the first one I've ever done on my own, actually. Kind of went faster than I thought, and it's not as daunting as I thought either. So obviously we have the Patreon that's in the top right. If anyone wants to join that, when we have people that are on that, we're looking to doing content. I think I've got a lot of stuff around going back and playing the old wrestling games and stuff that I really want to do. The old SmackDown vs. Raw games, because I'd love to go back and play all those again. So yeah, that's it really. Obviously Carl has got a few ideas of videos coming up. I know they're coming out. My running joke still exists that I will get around to doing one of those voiceover videos some stage. But yeah, life's just crazy. So I will hopefully get around to that one stage, even if it's jumping on one with Carl or something. So yeah, that's yeah, I just wanted to show you Paul again, because when I found that, I was just greasing for ages. So yeah, I would hope to see next year as well. That's another thing. I would love to see Paul Heyman kind of become CM Punk's manager again. That would be amazing. And jump ship. I think that would be a great storyline. So yeah, other than that, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Lots of things coming up, lots of ideas, lots of guests. And if anybody also wants to participate on the channel, wants to come on, they're always more than welcome for people to come on. So just drop me a message, drop the Instagram a message, just get to us somehow, and we'll have you on. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. And yeah. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, just going to shout them out. So Gooner Gathering is an Arsenal YouTube page that I collaborate on a lot. Do live streams, do reactions, do other type of stuff, and there's always a wrestling quote or comment thrown into those as well. So even if you don't really like the football, still worth watching. So yeah, that's it really. Big shout out again to everyone that's watched. And yeah, have a good rest of your evening. See you soon.